My Rideshare friends, my YouTube subscribers, hope you're having a fantastic day. I made a video about canceling trips. I'd love to hear your reasons why you think a trip should be canceled. I'll give you my three reasons, and the only three reasons I cancel a trip, unless I get told or I have to comply with a law, which I had to once, where the police said, you have to cancel this trip. You have a escaped felon in your car. Fantastic news. But the three main reasons are easy. If I accept a trip, and I accept all trips, good or bad, I'm grateful for every trip. I think that should be the general policy if you're going in, not cherry picking your trips and leaving the next driver with a shitty trip, right? As was promoted in this one video. But if I see a trip going to a school, I cancel, because I don't really think that in the middle or high school there are several kids over 18 years old. So 9 times out of 10, I'm walking in or I'm driving into a problem. I cancel, right? And parents should know better. They shouldn't book those type of trips for kids. That being said, I see tons of Uber and Lyft drivers still at middle school and high schools pick up kids. So they obviously don't care. But anyway, I'm putting that out there. The second reason is if I know I have a problem in the car, and that's usually when I drive late, 12, 1, 2 a.m. in the morning. I'm sure you can relate to this. Get a couple of drunk people in the car, and they're just totally out of control. And I'll tell them, hey, listen, guys, I can't drive like this. You guys are jumping around in the seat, screaming. Some are even fighting in the back. Let me get you home safely, or if you can't go according to my rules and basic requests, I cancel and you're out, right? So I always try to use diplomacy. I always try to diffuse a situation, but sometimes, unfortunately, we have to cancel on those type of people. The third reason, and I've canceled several of these type of trips, usually in the evening when people want to go out and they're not even done yet. Oh, they text you, hey, I'm still doing my hair. I'll be down in 5 or 10 minutes, or I'm getting out the shower, or I still have to eat. I'll be out soon. No, you know what? Respect your driver, order the trip when you're ready to roll. That's my rule, right? I'll maybe give them a 1 or 2 minute here or there waiting time, text them, are you ready to go? If not, I cancel and I switch off and I move at least 3 or 4 minutes out of that zone and then switch back on. What I learned is when I switched back on immediately and got that guy or girl a second time, they were irate, they were angry at me for canceling, and they would hit me with a bad rating and I wouldn't get a tip. And I just didn't want to have that energy in the car. So I left the scene, right? And then started maybe a few miles away. So those are my three main reasons, except for being told by a policeman to end a trip, right? The one idea of passenger screening that's floating around, and you can see in the previous video that I made, a lot of feedback, a lot of opinions, and every opinion and every reason you put forward is welcome in this channel, right? I may have a very different take on it, right? I may have lost respect for certain people that I once respected and don't respect anymore because of their argument, but that's my personal opinion, right? The scenario I never want to be in, especially when you hear that one woman, pregnant woman, was stabbed in Lyft. If you think that every scenario is not possible with Uber or Lyft, think again. So let's say you were to change your shoes and put yourself in the passenger and the rider's situation, you waiting on the trip, you have to catch a flight or you have to be a meeting and they cancel on you, you miss that flight or you miss that meeting. Even worse, and this has happened, I've rushed people to hospital. If a person is having a stroke or a heart attack, and maybe they're only 3 or 4 minutes away from an emergency room, driver uses this technique that Jay promoted, comes in there 1 or 2 streets before, looks, oh, the guy's just going up the road, they're 3 or 4 minutes, and not knowing that this person may have an emergency, right? It's a life or death situation. If that person passes away, dies, I'm telling you, not only is it going to be on your consciousness, but you might be pulled into some legal matter as well, right? If they subpoena those records. If you think that subpoenaing trip records doesn't happen, look what happened in the R. Kelly case. Trips were subpoenaed. It happens all the time. And if you think I'm being too dramatic about this ending up in a big lawsuit filed by passengers, people, especially law firms that do class action suits, I know a lot about the law, they go after people that have money. and Uber and Lyft have money, and they don't want negative publicity. So pre-IPO time, if there's anything they can nail them on or file, these companies will usually settle up with them and they'll get big settlements. If you look at the downloads of Uber, I'm going to use Uber rider apps as an example, over 5.9 million. Check it up right now on your apps, right? 5.9 million on the Android, right? Downloads. So if I do the statistics of my last video and I see that 25% use that method and are proud of that method that Jay promotes, and 75% like me will play by the book, ethically take every trip. But even if I do projected numbers on 5.9 million drivers, if only 25%, one-fourth, are abusing the system, call it 1 or 1.2 million drivers are abusing the system out of the 5.96 million people, then can you imagine how many trips on a daily basis this happens to? How many minutes that adds up to? How many flights have been missed? How many? And I know people who've cancelled, who have missed flights because of cancellation. So this is a real issue, right? And for people that say that their earnings are not going down, look at this. You or I may be the recipient of the trips, the longer, nice trips that these guys don't want. Maybe they're dumping the short ones on us, right? In Jay's case, he makes a case that he just likes the short little trips, right? The bottom line is he is leaving somebody stranded, right? And reverse the roles on this guy. He's waiting, Jay's waiting, and the guy dumps his ass 2 streets away. And Jay has to catch a flight from San Francisco to LA. Doesn't make the meeting. I'm just telling you, these are real life scenarios. You don't think that people get irate or act on it or complain to Uber and Lyft on it. Who ultimately pays the price? All the drivers. Every time we have a legal bailout and there's one story after the other, one settlement after the other, where do they have to make up that money? They have to be in good standing with the investors. They've got to get that money back in. They'll look at taking it away from the drivers. Ultimately, the drivers lose. Now, there is a reason I have this 3 or 4% cancellation thing. I get calls and emails and text messages every day. Hey, I got cancelled, and how do I get in there, back in there, Rideshare Professor? What was the reason? Tell me the real reason why they cancelled you. Let's look at it. So that's a future deactivation. If you want to play Russian roulette, by all means, carry on following the J principle and see where that leads you long term, right? He came in at 22,000 trips. From what I was heard, got deactivated. So they don't care if he did 22,000 trips. The bottom line is, in their eyes, he was probably cheating the system. I lease out 40 cars to drivers, mainly SUV, Lux cars, a couple of Priuses. I see the numbers every Tuesday. I see my drivers making less and less, and I look for all the reasons. There's multiple reasons why drivers make less. Maybe surge has been taken away. Rates were adjusted to the favor of the passenger. Maybe this plays into the formula, right? But if you look at market economics on supply and demand, the method that he's preaching is disrupting supply and demand, right? Because people say to themselves, and this is one of the interesting arguments in this last video, hey, Uber and Lyft are screwing me over, so I'm going to screw them over. The bottom line is, one wrong by another wrong doesn't make a right, right? So we're better than that. I hope that everybody plays fair ball, fair game. I will continue doing so, and I'll continue talking about the issue. It doesn't make me, as somebody call me, a snitch. I'd rather be called a whistleblower. I'd rather be called a game changer. As somebody that exposes shit, I've exposed many shenanigans and many changes were made. I know that, especially in LA, right? I'm a loud voice. I spent a lot of money on lawyers' letters and attorneys' fees to not only out of my own good to protect myself, but also to help drivers. So I do give back. I do put in, and people recognize it. And I'm not here. I don't cozy up to Uber and Lyft. I don't work for them as some people think I do. No, I'm here to teach drivers how to make more money, how to apply smart reasons, how to understand the when and where factors. I give the very best training, advice, support, nonstop. Even if they call me at 10 o'clock at night, hey, I'm stuck in this situation. The reason why people sign up with me all over the United States, all over the world, is that they have ongoing support on Skype, WhatsApp, texting, phone, I interact with people every single day. And if I'm driving, I tell them, hey, I'll get back to you driving, right? And they know that. So, ladies and gentlemen, open up the dialogue here. Let's not overkill this topic. What are your reasons for canceling trips? If you're using Jay's reasons, don't be a coward. Say, hey, you know what? This works better for me. You know, don't hide in the shadows. Come out. It's open dialogue here. Doesn't make me think much differently of you. I mean, you have your own style, right? I have a style that I teach, and I think it does well, right? It's made me a lot of money. It's made my drivers a lot of money, and it's made a lot of the people that I've helped all across the globe a lot of money, right? But never have I ever promoted or had to promote that type of way. So my 3 cancellation reasons were shared with you. What are yours? And, some of the best suggestions made in this channel or in this feed that we just did in the previous video were, hey, let's do a test market, a test city where the driver can see the destination and has the right to cancel on the passenger, right? And I think it's better that you cancel on a passenger within 30 seconds knowing, hey, I just cannot take you on a 2-hour trip, right? Or I'm not going to do that 1 or 2 mile trip. Maybe the next guy wants it. But why not cancel immediately, right? And maybe a second cancellation and a third cancellation within a minute. But at least, I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, we are not wasting 10 or 15 minutes of the passenger's time, because when they get irate, guess who they turn to? They go complain and issue their complaints and write on the web, write through the app. When they open up a ticket, they complain about the drivers to the companies, right? So to reduce that, I love the good suggestions is that, you know what? The driver should have the opportunity to cancel right away, right? I just don't think, and please hear me out here, I just don't think it's fair that 7-8 minutes into the trip you arrive a street away, use his method, check, and then cancel. Right? I don't want to have that happen to me, and I've taken many flights, gone to many meetings. It's happened to me. I know why now, right? But just see it from that perspective. The solution, Uber and Lyft, listen up, is to offer the driver a way out. I cannot take that trip. I don't want to take that trip. It shouldn't affect my cancellation rate. Why not get away with cancellation rates completely and give the driver the opportunity to take it or pass on it, right? Because there's many, many people that are desperate for those trips and need those trips, and will take any trip, because even an accumulation of 20 short trips adds up to money, right? So again, I'm going a little bit too far now. Let me slow down. I think I've expressed my feelings on this very, very clearly. I think I've gone in a couple of one-on-one battles. Unfortunately, I don't have boxing gloves on, but I wish I did, with drivers in the channel, sparring, because one thing you learn about me is that, like, I don't mind arguing the topic, right, and the reasons, or even respect a person for have different political reasons, right? But when you start engaging in name calling and you spew your hatred, or you know what, then that conversation takes on a whole different meaning, and I become a whole different animal. Good luck to you at that point, right? But I like getting in good verbal sparring sessions with people, because they're putting their, I think that makes for healthy dialogue. I think that's how you get things resolved. I think that's why we have a Democratic and a Republican Party that battle each other, so we make the system better, right? Ladies and gentlemen, your reasons, and your reasons only, for canceling trips, right here underneath this video. Let's hear them. Have a fantastic day, my friends.